Hey, what's going on, everybody? For some reason, our intro music's not playing, man.
What?
I don't know what's going on. What the heck? Anyway, it doesn't matter. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Newsnet Live this week. What's going on?
Oh, another lovely day in Star Wars.
Another lovely day.
A lot of stuff to talk about.
There is a lot to talk about. I just got the word like 30 or 45 minutes ago that we were doing this an hour early tonight. So
yeah,
I kind of got caught with my pants down. That's why it's kind of like, here we are. Like there's not, but yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We got an awesome Mando season finale to go over. Rest in peace, Darksaber. And I think I'm more mad about that than I am Paz Vizsla. And we got some celebration stuff to talk about. So what do you want to kick it off with, man? I'm going to let you take the lead. What do you want to kick it off with today?
the first thing I want to talk about is something that just broke like a couple hours ago. So one of the big things from Celebration, what were those 3 movie announcements? The post Rise of Skywalker, Rey Skywalker. I know your feelings about that, but Rey movie, Rebuilding the Jedi Order, the Mandalorian, kind of like all come together, big finale movie. I can't wait for that. I don't know what's going to happen there. And then the James Mangold directed Dawn of the Jedi era, Birth of the Jedi, Birth of the Force, all that good stuff. That is another movie I'm very excited about because I love me some James Mangold. He can't do anything wrong at the moment. But
absolutely.
But as I was just alluding to, the Rey movie, I don't know if anyone just saw this, but a few hours ago on the Hot Mic, John Roca and Jeff Snyder's podcast, where they drop big bombs every single week. If you like the movie space, you have to check that out at this point because they drop some bombs. And today's bombs is kind of a big deal for Star Wars fans because John Boyega might be coming back for that Rey movie.
Boy.
Yeah. So let's read a little bit here of what they had to say. Check it out on Star Wars Newsnet. I'll just read a little bit of our portion here. So, so if you haven't been following the news on this movie, this was the Damon Lindelof written movie that he left the project. Then Stephen Knight came back on. It was reported a few months back that Charmin Obaid-Chinoy was tapped by Lucasfilm to direct the film, but at some point Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson left the project. Let's see, what does Snyder say? Yeah, so Lindelof pitched the idea himself, and according to Snyder, when the package was set up at Lucasfilm, it came with lead actor attached. That's another thing that was kind of rumored, is that the lead actor that was attached when Lindelof was on the project is no longer on the project, so we'll have to see where that goes. So it sounds like Rey won't even be the main character in the movie, which I think is very interesting.
I think it's the right move.
I think so too.
It doesn't have anything with how I feel about the Rey Skywalker thing. I just think that's the right move. I think don't make it, because we all keep calling it the Rey movie, right? We probably I hope it's not a Rey movie. I hope it's a Star Wars movie about the new Jedi Order, and Rey is just there, like the Grand Master. Like we don't call, the prequel trilogy, we don't call Episode 1 a Yoda movie because he's the Grand Master of the Order. You know what I mean? But he's there. But I don't want to see just a Rey movie. I want to see a new Jedi Order movie. So that's what I hope. Because, and then, hang on. I think I unplugged my headphones.
I still got you.
Second.
You got me.
But yeah, no, like if Paul was here right now, we'd be fighting. Because I'm at the point where Disney needs to, you can't have your cake and eat it too. They either need to announce that this is episode 10. Because if this does end up being a Rey movie, they either need to announce that this is episode 10 and it's continuing the Skywalker saga because she is a Skywalker, or they need to admit that she's not really a legitimate Skywalker and this is an episode 10.
Well, that's kind of been the Rey character for, in my opinion, most of the sequel trilogy, is this idea of what, because throughout the whole trilogy, she struggled with her identity, and and she got so lost in her parents and where she came from that that she couldn't find her way for most of her life. And that led her down the path of connecting with Luke Skywalker and Leia. And that is ultimately why she basically claimed the name, whether you like that or not. That's the direction she went. They could do something in this new movie that where they continue to challenge that idea of Rey's identity. And does she really want that name? And as she's rebuilding the Jedi Order, I don't know what they could do there. But that's interesting to me because they could still use that as the core of the character. So we'll see. But yeah, back to John Boyega, who could be a part of this movie. Looking at our article, so basically how it went down on John Roca and Jeff Snyder's show is basically Roca is saying that he's heard from two separate and reliable sources that Kathleen Kennedy and John Boyega have, quote, buried the hatchet after having a few conversations earlier in the year, and that he's coming back to the new film. Again, this is all rumor, all things John Roca has heard. At this point, Roca and Snyder are at this point fairly reliable.
They're batting a pretty high number.
Because if you've been following, they are the guys that have been basically just breaking all of the film news, and they have been pretty much 100% right.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'll see. MB Wilson in the chat brings up something. He's talking about two lead characters that are new characters. You see, part of the rumors that came out today is that those, I don't know if it's one or both, but if they were attached in the Lindelof era of this film, they're no longer a part of the movie. So we'll have to see what goes along with that. So we might be getting new characters there, or with the new scripts and whatnot, it could be entirely possible that Rey and Finn are the main new characters now. So we'll have to see about that.
Yeah.
I think they should go the route of new characters being.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, I mean, depending on if this movie is great, they could continue on the roles. But, I mean, how long can you get away with the divisiveness of continuing the sequel line without trying to build something new? So we'll see.
And that's another thing too. Like, I mean, love or hate the sequels, right? I mean, no matter how you feel about them, you have to admit they were incredibly divisive. And why would you continue to do, you know what I mean? Like, so it hopefully in like 3 years, 2 years, this movie comes out and we're all sitting here going, wow, that was really great. That was awesome. That was a really good redemption for basically the name of Rey Skywalker. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Why would you go back to such a divisive character, you know, and hope to bring the fan base back together again?
Right. But, we'll see.
But the other two movies, bring them on. I am so stoked for the Dave Filoni movie. I think I said this on my podcast. I remember going to see episode 3 in theaters for the first time, and I was like, man, this is the last Star Wars movie we're ever gonna get. But I was excited for it. I counted down every day for like 3 years for that movie, and then I thought that was it. And then came the dark times, then came the Empire, right, where we didn't have anything, and then we got episode 7. And I remember being super excited for episode 7, and I counted down every day until that movie came out. But all that said, I have never been this excited for a Star Wars movie in my life.
Right.
This is the project, dude. Like, bring it on.
Yeah.
Crossover.
I'm very curious. I'm very curious if by the time the movie comes out, I know there's reports going around about the Mandalorian season 3, conflicting reports as to if it's gaining viewers, losing viewers, same amount of viewers. We don't know. We'll never know because it's a worldwide phenomenon, and we don't get ratings internationally. We don't get those numbers. But when this movie comes out, what's going to be the fervor for it? I think it'll be very high. I'm very curious because it's definitely a risk because all of the buildup is streaming shows, and not everyone watches those shows. And it's like, can you get the casuals to come in? And well, the casuals meaning just random people off the street who don't watch TV and whatnot. So it's a big risk. I can't wait to see the movie. I can't wait. My most anticipated one is the Mangold movie.
That one's good too. Yeah.
I can't believe that announcement. I mean, there's been talk about Old Republic movies for a while, but they're going before that. So I'm even more curious.
Right. You know, and that is one that, yes, bring it on. Like that, the first Jedi, the discovery of the Force. And he described it as a biblical epic.
I love that.
That is
I love cool. That phrase.
That is so cool.
I don't know. I mean, I can picture what he means by that because it's basically like the book of Genesis and how it all began, and then probably some Moses in there. And
yes, exactly. Like that sounds so awesome to me. And one of the things I caught during Celebration was, they did all these new time periods. Right, where you've got the Dawn of the Jedi. They added the Old Republic, kind of slipped it in under the radar.
Yeah,
Old Republic is there, and now we've got Dawn of the Jedi at the end. And they did all these other periods. And Kathleen Kennedy said that the Taika Waititi movie was still happening.
Yep,
he was writing it. So, is he writing an Old Republic movie? Because they didn't say jack about the Old Republic. They just
it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me. They could also be doing that. I want to see the Taika Waititi movie because I love his voice and I love his vision. So I want to see his movie, but I wrote a whole 4,000 word article on why that movie should exist about a year ago after Thor: Love and Thunder came out and all of that controversy about that movie. I was still a huge defender of that guy in that movie, but now I'm like, are they just giving him the Rian Johnson treatment in that they're just slowly trying to weasel out of that?
So, talk about it less and less and less until they hope everybody just kind of forgets about it.
I hope not, because I want to see it. I want to see it. And he's proven that he can do Star Wars with The Mandalorian. So it's like, and I don't care what anyone says, the man is an Academy Award winner. So...
But you know what scares me? There's just there's a giant red flag just waving in my face right now. Have you seen the Lego the droid tails when Anakin's getting ready to pod race and Watto's in the background going, red flags, get your red flags here. You know what I'm talking about? And Qui-Gon's like, you're going to grow up to be a great Jedi. He's like, red flags. That's how I feel right now. Red flags. When he asked Natalie Portman, you ever thought about being in a Star Wars movie? And she was like, I was. And he's like, oh, I forgot about those.
It's just a jokester making a joke, man.
No, man. That scares me.
It's a jokester making a joke. You can't take anything the man says seriously. Deal with it.
Oh, man. I don't know. It's just I can't help but keep coming back to that.
Let his work speak for himself, and his work is impeccable.
I look at, Jojo Rabbit, love it. Love Thor Ragnarok. The man, like you said, he's an Academy Award winning actor or writer and director. I get it. But for some reason, that one thing just rubs me the wrong way.
I get it. But I get it. I get it. He said some things in that press tour for Thor: Love and Thunder that were not ideal, especially in this age of Star Wars, especially in this age of Star Wars, when we just want a little bit of faith in those bringing what we love to life.
Here, I'll play devil's advocate for you for a second because I'm going to tell on myself. Because not too long ago, Kirsty and I were watching, my wife and I were watching The Last of Us. And we were talking about how good Pedro Pascal was as Joel Miller. And, we were just in love with Last of Us is my favorite story of all time in video game. And I'm just like, so I'm losing my mind over it. And then I was like, man, they ought to get him in Star Wars somewhere. And then my wife just like turned and looked at me like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he'd be great in Star Wars." And then I was like, "Oh, never mind." So it happens. There's Freudian slips. I get it, but anyway.
Yeah.
Johnny G is saying Dash Rendar movie, please.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I'll take Dash Rendar. He's not canon, is he? They haven't brought him into canon.
I don't. I think elements of the character. I think his ship might be canonized. I can't remember what his ship was named. Full disclosure, I have never read a Dash Rendar story, so I don't really know. But
you never read Shadows of the Empire?
I never have.
Oh my god, that was the first.
Trust me, I know. Trust me, I know.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. When you get a book that's good enough that they're making action figures and toys based off of it,
I know.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a black hole in my fandom. It's one of those.
Oh, man, that's not even fair. Yeah, the Outrider. I think the Outrider. Did it make an appearance?
I'll do a quick Google.
Do a quick little Wikipedia search.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
A little Wikipedia. No, I think that'd be.
There is a canon tab.
There is.
Oh, what the absolute heck was unfinished business?
What?
Oh, a board game, Fantasy Flight Games. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about game. I don't know about board games being canon. I don't know about all that.
I don't know either.
Maybe someday, but the thing is, like, he's going to be I'm sure there's going to be people who are like, he's just a Han Solo ripoff. You know what I mean? Like, we all love Dash Rendar.
There's
he's an awesome character.
There's so many Star Wars characters that are Han Solo ripoffs, and so many characters that Han Solo ripped off. It's like
it's true.
It's one of the classic cinema and movie archetypes. So the scoundrel, the scumbag that you just can't help but love, and it's like, and he just proves himself a hero at the end of the day. It's like that's one of the classic archetypes. So yeah. I'll take more.
All right, we want to get into this Mando finale.
I think so.
Man, I'm gonna bring it up real quick. I have to bring it up. I have to, because I'm in mourning. Here, I'm just gonna throw this overlay up. Rest in peace, Darksaber. We hardly knew you. I miss you. That to me, it was a bigger loss than Tech in the Bad Batch. Not even gonna lie.
I don't know about that.
Bigger loss to me than Tech in the Bad Batch. When Tech died, it was like no. When the Darksaber went down, it was no. There was some rage behind it. So
right.
But what did you think of this? What did you think of this finale?
I very complex feelings towards this finale. I enjoyed it, but I don't know. It's just as I was feeling or watching it, I wasn't really feeling anything. And I'm watching all these insane things happen in front of my eyes, but nothing in my brain is registering it. And I think that has to do with just I don't want to say my expectations going in, because I had none. I just wanted an entertaining episode, and that's what we got. But I don't know. I was just left wanting a bit more. But again, like with a lot of this season, everything that I saw, for the most part, I very much enjoyed. It's just I wanted just a little bit more to give me a full meal. So yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, like there was a lot of good stuff in the finale. But yeah, I don't know. It's just complex feelings, but I don't know.
Hey, real quick, Andrew Haley says like the Squid shirt, Squid Game shirt, Nate.
Thank you. I don't remember where I got this shirt, but yeah, I enjoy it.
Johnny G says I don't have high hopes for Star Wars movies at this point, but I do love Star Wars.
You see, that's the thing, and that's the thing, and like all the movies need is one absolute banger, of a film, and everyone's back on board.
You think?
Maybe not necessarily everyone, but the first one, assuming it's the Rey one,
Yeah.
if that's good, everyone will be back on board, because what's next after that? You get the Mandalorian movie, which everyone is already a big Mandalorian fan.
I think that's going to be the one to bring everybody back.
And then you get the brand new, which everyone has been clamoring for, something completely new, in the James Mangold Dawn of the Jedi movie.
Removed as you can get. 25,000 years. I mean,
so it's like, if the Rey movie is good, everyone's going to be excited for Star Wars movies again.
Yeah. See, here's why I think it could be the Dave Filoni movie, though, real quick. Going back, and then we'll get back to Mando, I promise. I think the Dave Filoni movie is the one that's going to bring everybody back together. I think it has the potential to do it, because everybody, even non-Star Wars fans, watch The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to go see this Mandalorian movie. People that never go see Star Wars movies in theaters are going to go see this one. You're going to get, obviously, all the Star Wars fans that are going to go see it, that go see all the rest of them. You're going to get, EU fans. You've got Thrawn. You're basically doing Heir to the Empire. They're going to get their film adaptation of a novel, like one of the most beloved EU novels there is. We're going to be excited because we get Thrawn and everything going on. And you almost have to expect that the big three are going to end up making an appearance in that movie.
I think so too.
They're going to have to be there.
And I see Tommy down in the chat here saying you can't have Star Wars without the original three. Who's to say they can't show up?
Okay, so I don't agree with that, but yes, they are going to be in the movie. They have to be. And here's the thing, dude. If you put out a trailer, and I don't know if they would do this, but if they put out a trailer where you've got like the Chimera with Thrawn at the bridge, and you see the Millennium freaking Falcon flying in to fight the Chimera, and you've got Han and Chewie at the controls of it, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you're going to put asses in seats. You're going to get people to come see this movie. You're going to have a line around the block.
Yep. It's going to be tough, because in order to do something like that, and they're getting there, getting there with the deep fake and the de-aging and all that stuff. They're getting there. But if they could pull that off, because they're getting close with Luke.
Yeah.
If they could get close with all three of them,
blow
everything up.
You get Billy Lord to stand in as the physical presence for Leia. Yep. You know what I mean? They're doing it with Harrison Ford with Indy 5, and he looks really great in the trailers.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he looks great.
He looks great. I love that trailer and Celebration. I love that trailer.
I thought Luke looked perfect in Book of Boba Fett. I thought he looked.
He could still be better, and there's some body movement and things that they can improve. But
look at how much of an improvement they made just between Mando and Book of Boba Fett. I mean, it was huge difference. And so the technology is there.
And it's there, and it's only getting better, and they will have a cinematic budget. So they'll have the money to do something special if they want to go that route. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I just wanted to bring that up. But hey, real quick on Tommy's comment.
I disagree.
I disagree, because
I very much disagree too.
Star Wars, it's only like 14% of the entire Star Wars universe, not counting the books, just counting entertainment. Like 14% of it is the original trilogy.
Yeah,
that's it. The rest of it, it's like 86% not the original three. So
and going back to what we were just talking about, hypothetically, if they're in that Mandalorian movie, I am not going to care about what they're doing. I'm going to be there to follow the finale of Ahsoka, Din Djarin, Thrawn, all these characters that are being introduced in the shows. That's what I'm going to be there for.
Yep.
And if they're in there, Han, Luke, and Leia, that's just icing on the cake. But they're not going to be what's going to get me in the door. So yes,
a lot of people in the door though. And not necessarily us. We're going to be there.
Oh yeah,
but it's going to take some convincing for some people, and I think you put out a trailer, and maybe you don't even show them in the trailer. Maybe you just pull a Spider-Man No Way Home, and don't put Toby and Andrew in the trailer at all. And then, I mean, that was the worst kept secret in Hollywood. But you get what I'm saying. Like, you don't put them in the marketing at all, and then, hey, surprise, So it just makes sense that those characters are going to be there. Jon Favreau's even said, we look at the characters that are in play in the galaxy. Which characters make the most sense of being there. And if you've got a big battle between the New Republic and literally the Imperial Remnant, the last of the Imperial Remnant, Thrawn. Leia's going to be leading the charge. General Solo is going to be there with Chewie. Lando's going to come out of retirement. The droids are going to be there. Luke Skywalker, like the Grand Master Jedi at this point, is going to be in the middle of that fight. Like, it just makes sense that they're going to be there. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We still have a lot of Disney Plus shows to get to that point. So so we'll see what it looks like by the time we get there. But there's some insane potential.
It's going to be a hell of a ride. MB Wilson, you need to take this back. You owe me an apology. This is not nice. This is not nice. Let's see here. Johnny G says R5D4 needs a cape. Not all heroes wear capes, though.
No.
And then he goes on to say, no way I'm calling Baby Yoda Din Grogu.
No one will call him Din Grogu 6 months from now.
They're still calling him Baby Yoda.
Yeah. So Din Grogu it's a weird name. I don't know. Yeah, I don't follow Mandalorian clan names and how their naming situation goes, but it feels odd. But yeah, no one will call him Din Grogu.
No, Din Djarin and Din Grogu. Yeah, no, there's no way. It's still going to be the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
that's what everybody knows him as. But this was, I compared this finale kind of to the finale for season 1. It was more, granted it was for Mandalore, but it seemed like it just kind of still seemed along those same lines, because season 1 it was the whole fight on Navarro, with IG-11 pulling the volcano move and sacrificing himself and all, and then we got the reveal of the Darksaber, right? So it kind of felt on the same scale as that. The season 2 finale is like on an entirely different level for me. Yeah. Obviously, and I think that's for everybody because of bringing in a legacy character like Skywalker.
And it was the culmination of 2 seasons of storytelling.
Yes.
Which makes season 3 a bit weird in that it was the culmination of 3 seasons of storytelling.
Right, after you'd already culminated 2 of them.
But it didn't. But I don't know. But yeah, it obviously it was bigger in scale, but for me, as I'm watching, it didn't feel that grand in scale. It was weird. And I think a lot of that is because the season was so slapdash together and it just went all over the place. And again, all things I, for the most part, liked, but it's like, I don't know. Just when it all came together and looking back, I'm like, man, this could have been so much better.
Oh, here's an interesting comment. Homo erectus. Nice name. I like that. Homo erectus says, I'm buying the Gideon clone theory. Nate, have you heard about this?
I'm assuming it's that Gideon will come back as a clone. Is that what we're referring to?
Well, no. The theory that I've seen is that Gideon in seasons 1 and 2 had a mustache. And the Gideon we saw in season 3 did not. This is what they're basing it on. Didn't have a mustache.
So you're saying that the one we saw was a clone?
Yes, that's the theory, right?
Possibly.
It's entirely possible. And the fact that he was literally trying to do the Shadow Trooper program from EU, from like Jedi Outcast, like the Reborn stuff with...
That would explain why Gideon felt just a tad bit out of character, perhaps. Especially with the way... I mean, Gideon's always been a monologuer.
Yeah.
But it never got to the point where he basically became incompetent.
Right.
Whereas a little bit in the finale, he basically just kind of got punked.
He did.
Yeah.
Those clones. Like, he was mad, dude. He was those clones. But
and it was definitely a huge threat still. I mean, he almost took out every one of our heroes. But yeah, I don't know. But Gideon in that finale just felt just a little tiny bit off. So so we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I like the theory. I like the theory. We'll see.
I think it's an interesting theory. The fact, as soon as he said in last week's episode that he was trying to combine, what was it? The Jedi, the Mandalorians, and what was the other one? Cloning. He was trying to combine those 3 into one, and I was like, and back then I was like, back last week I was like, is he trying to do the Shadow Trooper program? And so, like in EU, for those of you that don't know, they did the Empire and the Imperial Remnant did this program called the Shadow Trooper program, where Kyber crystals were different in the EU, but they could imbue them with the power of the Force and put them on this like armor so that the user could use the Force, and they would give them like a black stormtrooper helmet and a red lightsaber, and they were basically like dark Jedi. And so as soon as he started talking about an army of Force sensitive hymns with dark trooper armor on, I was like, this could have been so cool. Like, that would have been awesome. But and he brings up another good point here. This version of Gideon had the super strength to crush the Darksaber.
Right. I mean, I mean, we've never seen that. We've never really seen a human, whether they have any kind of armor or whatnot, but he had some kind of enhancements, and it might just be because his armor had strength enhancements. But like, if that was just basic Beskar armor, and that, for sake of argument, if that clone was imbued with, Wrecker's strength, say Wrecker's dead by this point in the timeline, and Gideon found a way to get his DNA, and he just gave that clone. So we'll see.
Dude, his suit looked sick. I can't wait for the hot toy to come out for that thing.
Oh yeah, that's gonna fly off the shelves.
Oh god. And we all owe the armor an apology at this point also. I think all of us thought that she was gonna end up being a spy. She went like Betty Badass, like knocking these what are we calling the stormtrooper Mandalorians? What do we call? Are they dark troopers? Are they?
I have no idea.
What are they? So
I have no idea.
She was knocking them out of the sky with, Beskar hammers. And
I don't really care to find a name for them because they came and gone so quick. I don't really care.
They look awesome though. I really.
They did. They very much did. Yeah, but.
Let's see here. MB Wilson says his strength was in the suit.
I think that's more likely.
That's what it is. Yeah. Johnny G says Gideon made the Dark Trooper noises when he moved. He was a. He did.
I suppose. Yeah. Now that you said, I remember the sound design of that and the certain moves.
But that suit looked sick, dude. It absolutely looked awesome, and I wasn't expecting the clones to be him. That kind of caught me off guard
caught me off guard, and then again,
because we were expecting Palpatine or Snoke or something deformed or defigured or whatever. That's what I was expecting.
I was too. And then again, the moment that was revealed, it was just blown up immediately. So it's like, come on, man.
As soon as they walked in, and you could kind of make out that one of them had a human face.
Yep. It's like, oh crap, that's Gideon. Oh crap, it's blown up. Like 5 seconds later.
My wife's first thought was, is that Luke? And I was like, no, you can't do this to me right now, because I swear if we get a Luke, if you've ever read Heir to the Empire trilogy, the original Thrawn trilogy, Luke, I swear to God. But no, and then it ended up being Gideon, and I was kind of happy about it. It was just caught me off guard is all. Let's see here. Ray Rodriguez. I tried to say it too fast. I'm sorry, brother. The suit was sick, but he looked like he was wearing a mech suit.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I have to go back and watch it. Yeah.
I want to watch it again. I'm just going to fast forward past a certain little moment that just breaks my heart every time I think about it.
You see, with the Darksaber, I don't know. Yeah, it was used. I like seeing it in the show, but I don't know. I feel like we just didn't see enough of it. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think we did. That's why I don't remember who said it earlier, but they said it had to go. I think it was Wilson. Yeah, it was MB Wilson. I was like, no, you owe me an apology, and I still stand by that. You owe me an apology. That thing was so sexy.
Mm-hmm. And it looked really cool in live action.
Yeah.
It looked really cool.
Yeah.
They did that very well.
Yeah. No, Tommy agrees with me. It is sexy. But yeah, no, maybe that's the moment everybody was talking about that was so gut wrenching. And then we've got to talk about Grogu taking on 3 Praetorian guards.
Awesome.
And Paz couldn't do it. Like Grogu. Well, to be fair, Grogu was about to get his ass handed to him until. Was it Din that came out? Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I remember right.
Yeah, Din Djarin came to save him.
This is gonna get so. I'm not calling him Den Grogu. I'm just not doing it. It's so weird. But yeah, no, he just hopping around and it's just those three go, like everybody in that entire fight had to have been so freaking annoyed by Grogu using the Force and pushing people down or pushing them over and then moving their weapons, and they were just like
and unable to really just end it because Grogu is basically just fighting for his life, but he's not. I mean, he's powerful enough in the Force to be able to beat them, but that's not what Grogu is.
Yeah,
he's very much a light side user in that he will never use the Force to hurt somebody. He'll always use it to protect others, and just the way a Jedi would. So he will never put them away. So yeah, that had to annoy them because it's like, dude, if you're not going to just beat us, come on, just let us kill you.
Like, have you ever been playing a video game and there's a guy that just keeps hitting you and you're just like, mother,
stop bouncing around everywhere. Come on, man.
Like, that's what they were feeling.
Stop playing these games.
MB Wilson says they could always rebuild it. They could reforge it.
I think so too. I think so too, because I mean, I am not a lightsaber construction aficionado, but I feel like the crystal could still be intact, and they could repurpose that and put it into a new hilt. And if it's broken, it could be turned into some kind of, I don't know, Kylo Ren crossblade or crossguard situation because that kyber crystal was cracked. So they could do something like that.
Maybe.
We'll see.
I'm still so gut wrenched. Johnny G says the Darksaber at Target looks so cheap that any of the ones you can buy at retail really do.
Yeah.
I need to get me a replica. And now I have to get a replica one because I'm gonna have to spend the money and I don't want to. Let's see here. John G says frog murder is a dark side move.
But he's a baby.
No, his force choke though, and Luke used force choke in Return of the Jedi against the Gamorrean guards when he walked into Jabba's palace. They were choking up against the wall. So to be fair. Ray Rodriguez says, let's be honest, if Grogu would have been hurt in this episode, we the fans would have rioted. FYI, just call me Ray. Fair enough.
Ray, you're totally right. Thankfully, they will never harm a single hair on Grogu's head. So.
You say that. Next season.
Do you think they will ever remove any limbs off of that dude?
I think they could, because here's the thing, right? We've got this Mandalorian crossover movie coming, right? A lot of people who are going to go see this movie don't necessarily know who Thrawn is. They don't understand that he is a Thanos level.
That's going to be
Star Wars, right?
That's going to be a tough sell. I mean,
well, unless you take this guy, Thrawn, and he hurts Baby Yoda, you are instantly going to turn the entire fan base on Thrawn as the villain. And it's like what they did in Infinity War, right?
Right.
Kevin Feige came out and said, in the first 5 or 10 minutes of Infinity War, Thanos shows us why he is the baddest, why he is, the big baddie. And he kicks the crap out of the Hulk, right? And that's when we're like, whoa, this guy. And he kills Loki, right? Spoiler alert, in case you guys haven't seen that. Just saying. Anyway, but that's when you're like, this guy ain't messing around. And if you get Thrawn to hurt Grogu in some way, you'll know he's not messing around. And you're going to have the entire fan base cheering when the Chimera finally inevitably goes down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm not going to say that it's never going to happen. I think Grogu could
actually. I'm very curious. I'm very curious how this whole storyline develops, because they have to escalate things to a point where a movie has to resolve it instead of a TV show. And I don't know what that looks like. So I'm very curious.
More than one movie.
Oh, wouldn't
that be amazing?
That'd be awesome. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
What if, right? What if they didn't even announce that they were doing a trilogy of these movies, and because what are they going to call this? Heir to the Empire? Are they going to literally call it Star Wars Heir to the Empire?
I would
just do it. You might as well. Yeah. That's what's going to get butts and seats.
I think you call all these movies exactly what we think.
Yep.
Star Wars New Jedi Order, Star Wars Heir to the Empire, and Star Wars Dawn of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I think you just do it because people know those titles and they're really cool titles. So
they are. They're great. They're amazing titles. So what if, like, you know, we do Heir to the Empire, and
I think that's the whole what there.
And then we get to the end of it, and we're like, that wasn't the end of it, and we're getting Dark Force Rising. We're gonna get The Last Command.
If these movies, I mean, that's just classic movie making. If the first movie is successful, they're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Star Wars. They got to keep making movies, and if one of these movies is successful and the fans respond to it well, which is the big thing that they need, is big fan response that brings everyone together.
All right.
As long as any of these three movies, whether it's the Mando, the Rey, or the Dawn of the Jedi, if any of those succeed in both of those, money, critic response, and fans, they're going to keep doing them until the cows come home, because that's just how movies work. So
yeah.
But yeah, you know, those conversations are already happening.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they already are with the Mandoverse, because I can't remember if it was Filoni or Favreau during Star Wars Celebration when all this was happening. They were asked straight up, all right, so this movie is culminating everything, but could you still do more Mandalorian? Mm-hmm. And I believe it was Filoni who basically said, well, if John wants to keep doing it after the movie, he certainly could. So it's like there's still going to be plenty of story after.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, but the moment you take it to a movie, you can't really follow up.
Game changes. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can't really go back to just doing it in TV. You gotta keep doing it on the big screen, because that's what Star Wars is.
You don't think they could go back to the small screen?
They could, but at some point you got to go back to the big screen.
See, I think I'm going to say you're right, because if you build up The Mandalorian and all these other shows into this epic, what they're calling an epic crossover conclusion, or not really conclusion, but crossover event, right? This story event. And it really is Heir to the Empire. Like, that is mind blowing that we're even sitting here talking about this. You put Mando back on TV and it's going to be lackluster. It's just going to be lackluster, and which is one
There's
of the
going to be way higher expectations, because if that movie is as good as we're hoping, you're going to get about another a million to 10 million Disney Plus subscribers who are going to expect that type of quality, no matter if it's The Mandalorian season 5 or 6 or Ahsoka season 3 or whatever the heck we're on at that point, or a new show. It's basically the Marvel problem.
That's what I was just getting ready to say.
In that, if you do a big, giant movie like that culminates everything, you got to follow it up with something just as big. And that's what Marvel's struggling to do.
Yeah.
So if we get another, I mean, not that these Mandalorian shows are low budget, but they're going to feel low budget
compared to what we're getting,
compared to what we just saw on the big screen. So if you go back to the small screen, you got to be ready to deliver on that grand scale again in order to get to the next big thing, which has to be another movie. That's just the way it's going to be.
And you know what? Why couldn't they? Here's the thing, right? How long does it take to make a movie, right? 2.5, 3 years, something like that?
3 years, especially on this one.
Why couldn't they do, let's say season 4 of Mando comes out, we get Ahsoka, we get Skeleton Crew, right? We say we get all that, and then this Heir to the Empire comes out.
That's what's probably going to be. Maybe a second season of Boba.
Yeah, in between the movies, and you know, we'll get another season or 2 of Mando, or you know, maybe like you said, maybe even another season of Ahsoka, and then another movie, another big crossover. Let's say then we get
maybe a new show. Maybe I don't know
something.
I don't know. Cobb Vanth gets his own spinoff or something.
Right.
I don't know.
And then we end up culminating everything with The Last Command, with the final Thrawn movie, like that be the one, right? Because I know Timothy Zahn was at Paris Comic-Con, I think last week, and he was teasing doing another trilogy of Thrawn novels after the Ahsoka series, but he kind of wants to wait and see kind of what's going on, what the plans are for that.
It would not surprise me one bit if...
Oh, me neither.
In the lead up to probably not the Ahsoka show, or obviously not the Ahsoka show, but to the movie, assuming Thrawn is the big bad of the movie, like we all assume.
Safe assumption.
It's a safe assumption, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get a trilogy of books following Thrawn post Rebels into the movie, because that's just what publishing does.
To find out what was going on in between, that'd be all right.
And we basically just look
at a buddy cop movie with him and Ezra.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Just them talking crap back and forth. That'd be amazing.
Which nothing. I brought it up in our Star Wars Newsnet Discord. Where the heck is Ezra? Because if Thrawn is working,
Thrawn's up to shenanigans.
Because if Thrawn has worked his way back into the Empire, where the heck is Ezra?
Yeah.
I mean, did Thrawn just leave Ezra tied up to a tree or something, and he just went off on his own merry ways? Or did the Empire come to save Thrawn, and now Ezra's in some kind of Imperial vaults? Or maybe Ezra is our new Luke kind of character, or
Mr. Bridger has vanished.
So I'm very curious as to what state Ezra is in, because if Thrawn is back, kind of shadow running the Empire, and we haven't seen him yet, so we don't know if he's really running the Empire at this point. But it's like, I'm very curious about. I can't wait for this Ahsoka show, man.
Dude, I'm all smiles right now.
I can't wait for this Ahsoka show.
It'd be so good.
That trailer was mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And
in the remix, because I've seen a copy of the remix when we showed at Celebration, and it was just as fire, if not more. It was just as much fire.
And I wrote up the article on the trailer article for our site when it first broke, and I straight up said, we all thought that this show was just a Rebel sequel, but watching that trailer, it's clear they have a lot more on their minds with this show.
Yeah.
And I am so curious as to what they're going to do. And God, if it's as good as the trailer looks, we're going to be in for a special several weeks with that show.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Ray says, where I am stuck is we now know the Mandalorians are now rebuilding. Where were they during, or why weren't they involved with movies 7, 8, and 9?
There's so much time. It's hard to say.
The galaxy is a huge place.
It is a huge place. And that's that's exactly it. I mean, it's so huge. I mean, you can't, actually, now that I think about it, I saw an image on Twitter, and there were Mandalorian Fang ships at the Battle of Exegol.
Oh, were there?
I believe so, based on some of the images I saw. I'd have to dig them up, but they were there based on some random tweets I saw. So
they were pulling ship designs out of their butts for that shot.
Yeah,
because if you watch the behind the scenes of The Rise of Skywalker, when they get to that scene, they were deep diving into the archives for ship designs. Like, it was ridiculous what they were doing. So,
but yeah, one of the big questions I have going forward with the Mandalorian, and you have a good word, rebuilding. What now with the Mandalorians? Because they just reclaimed their home, and these clans all came together, but that's not the Mandalorian way, is to stay together. There's going to be more conflict, and I'm very curious as to if that's where the show goes next. So I'm very curious if that's the path they go, and if that's kind of why there weren't more involvement in 7, 8, 9, because they had another civil war. So I'm very curious about what happens there.
They said in this, we've never really been taken down by anything outside.
Right.
It's always been us. It's always been infighting. So
I love that line. I love that line because it was so true. And so I'm very curious. And that's why I push back on some of the comments about the finale I'm seeing. It's like, well, they finished off everything. There's nowhere else to go with the story. There's so much they can do in Mandalorian season 4. There's so much they can do. They can go back to basics, or they can continue diving into Mandalorian culture, because there's so much to do. And going back to Darksaber, there's no symbol of power in Mandalore.
We still got the mythosaur.
Exactly. We still have to see
That's it.
But as far as everyone's concerned, that's still a myth.
Yeah.
So there's still that whole thing.
It's like, so what's the Chekhov's gun? Have you ever heard of this? Like, if you show a movie and you show a handgun, at some point in the movie, the gun has to go off, right? So at some point,
they're still holding that.
Going to see the mythosaur. Yeah, it's like in season 1 of Mando, they did the tease of Boba Fett with Fennec Shan, and then that didn't pay off until season 2. But everybody's like, what they never what? And so they still tied back to that. So the mythosaur is going to come back.
Yep,
I know it is. But
I was very curious to see that it responded to Grogu.
Yeah.
Yes, that's interesting. And I think that has to just do with simply that some Force sensitives are more attuned with wildlife than others. So I'm very curious.
Yeah. Well, he is attuned to wildlife, remember?
Yeah, he is.
You look at what he did with the Rancor and Boba Fett, so he's got
his thing is just wilds, untamable beasts, and I love it.
Yeah. I don't remember where I read it, and I think it was last night. It had to have been last night because we watched the finale last night. I don't remember where I read it, but I read somewhere that the working theory or whatever it is right now for season 4 Mando was going to be a reworked version of Rangers of the New Republic, since Din Djarin is gone to kind of work for
it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I've so much of season 3 was clearly that.
Yeah.
And they said they're gonna basically rework that.
Yeah.
For several I believe they said they're going to either do that across several shows they've announced or just across several seasons of Mandalorian. I can't remember what was said, but it wouldn't. I mean, a lot of season 3 was that already. It wouldn't surprise me if season 4 is the same.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they did a really good job setting up all the pilots and showing this base.
Oh yeah,
where the pilots all hang out. Dave Filoni was showing some serious face there at the end. On this.
Oh yeah, he was front and center. You could not miss him.
Yeah. And did you catch the stormtrooper helmet with the claw marks on it?
I don't think I did. I have to go back and watch because
right at the end, it was
always looking at Dave Filoni and paying attention to Carson Teva, and that's all I was paying attention to in that scene. So
that stormtrooper helmet is a callback to a novel, and I'm thinking it was, what was the name of that novel? Death Troopers? Not Death Troopers like we know them as in canon, but in Legends, I think it was Death Troopers. They're basically zombies.
Right.
And so that was a cool callback to that. I was like, I was like, I was like, I know what that is. Yeah. So I think they've done a good job of setting up. They even showed us Zeb, you know what I mean? So I think they've planted a lot of seeds in this season that are going to sprout here in the next few months with Ahsoka and coming up with the Skeleton Crew, Mando season 4.
It wouldn't surprise me if a big element of the movie is this idea that basically the whole idea of the Empire was to reestablish order in the galaxy. Mm-hmm. Just the Empire was corrupt and all that good stuff. But as we've seen in this last season, the New Republic isn't any better.
No.
So
they're fumbling over themselves.
So Thrawn's whole thing could be, you guys don't deserve power in the galaxy.
Yeah.
You are ruining lives left, right, and center. And you are threatening the lives of my people because that is this version of Thrawn's whole thing, is that he just wants the best for the Chiss. That's why he joined the Empire in the first place.
Yep.
So that could be his whole thing, and that would make perfect sense.
He basically came to learn about the Empire so that the Chiss could come and take it. You find that out in the the Thrawn Ascendancy novels.
Yep.
That's when you really, there's a suspicion of it in the first Thrawn trilogy that's canon, but in that second one, it's like, oh yeah, that's definitely what he's doing. Like he purposefully got himself demoted and sent off and exiled basically to do all this. So yeah, and now that you're saying that, oh man,
bring
on the Chiss army, dude.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. I don't think we'll see it, but it'd be crazy.
Man, I don't say never anymore. I've never to say never.
You can never say never with.
Can't. This is the thing I keep coming back to because I never thought I'd see it in the history of never ever, is a live action Luke Skywalker fighting dark troopers. Like we have that now. That happened. And like just now that we've seen that, anything is possible. I'm telling you right now, anything. And now that we're getting Heir to the Empire, anything is possible. Never say never. So,
yeah.
Bring it on. Hey, MB Wilson says, we will definitely see more of Mandalore. It may be a secondary plot for Mando season 4, or Bo-Katan could get her own series.
I mean, that's been in the rumor mill, Bo-Katan getting her own series, so we'll have to see about that. I mean, I would love that. If Mandalorian season 4 just wants to focus on the New Republic stuff, and Bo-Katan, a spinoff series, could focus on all of the internal conflict now on Mandalore that is sure to exist. There's no doubt in my mind that it exists, because I mean, everyone came together to reclaim Mandalore. What now? There's no Darksaber.
Yeah. So why we gotta keep saying that? Why we gotta keep coming back to the Darksaber thing?
Because it's a massive moment in Star Wars. You gotta accept it.
He might as well, when he crushed that Darksaber, he might as well have been my heart. That he just crushed it. Might as well have. Miguel's watching. What's going on, man? Miguel says going to bed soon, but here's my years-long prediction. Filoni's film will be titled Heir to the Empire. Everyone will say duh, but you heard it here first.
We just said it 5 minutes ago, my man. We said it 5 minutes ago.
I think we're all in agreement. I think that's exactly. I think
we're not hearing from you first.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, though, Miguel. That's exactly what they're going to call it, as Heir to the Empire.
Yeah. I think you have to call it that.
You do. You can't come up with some snappy little catchy title for it. You have to call it what it is. And that's exactly what it is. It's Heir to the Empire. It's not going to be like verbatim to the books, obviously. There's a lot of changes you're going to have to do.
What's that Marvel thing? I mean, and not just Marvel, it's that comic book thing where you call a movie by a classic comic, and dude, it's
it's like he says, dude, it's 5 a.m. here. Give me a break.
Go to bed.
It's like Marvel did quite a bit with some of their titles, right? And so getting some of these storylines, basically, like Thor Ragnarok was basically Planet Hulk. I mean, that's basically what it was. So but you have to
rework storylines just to fit their needs, so they can do the exact same thing.
And like we were talking about Han, Luke, and Leia earlier, I don't think they're going to be main characters in this movie. I think they're going to show up at the end when, the big battle's taking place, because it makes more sense that they're there. It just makes sense that they're there. And so I think it's going to be this big reveal. Ghostbusters Afterlife, right? So like the OGs show up at the end when they're needed. I think that's what's going to end up happening with this movie, and it's going to make people lose their minds. But yeah, you can't do it verbatim. Odds are they're not going to do a Mara Jade character.
No, there's too much different at this point in canon that you can't do it, and that's perfectly fine. That's the whole point of rebooting. That's the whole point of rebooting this whole thing, is to do your own thing and to build off of it. And for all of this canon's faults, they're doing a great job slowly building out these eras. So
they are. Ray says Filoni is so good at fan service, dude. He is the master of it at this point.
Yeah. Whenever you see his name attached to an episode, everyone clamors for that episode for a reason.
Touches turns to gold.
Everything. I don't know what he does, but he just knows what the fans want, and he just delivers every time. So it's I
got up early the morning of the showcase for Celebration, and I followed it. I watched, and when they said Dave Filoni's name, I knew the night before that we were getting a Dave Filoni movie. I knew the night before. That was kind of ruined for me that we were going to be, but to actually hear like the announcement in real time, the official announcement and him walking out on stage, the fact that he's being attached to a live action film, just it was like 5 a.m. here, and I was trying my best not to wake anybody up in the house. Everybody else is still asleep, and I'm down here in my soundproof studio, like trying to muffle my screams because I was so excited. And because we all knew what it was going to end up being, like from the moment Kathleen Kennedy announced this crossover event, before she even took a breath after saying it, I was already thinking Thrawn. It's going to be Thrawn. We'd already had Rebels. We still had the cliffhanger with Ezra and Thrawn going on. And I was like, it's going to be Thrawn. It's going to be that story. And it slowly has turned out to be, that's what it's going to be. So dude, bring it on, man. I'm so freaking excited. I've never been this excited for anything in Star Wars, dude. Nothing. Nothing. I've never. Look, when my son was born, I quit smoking so that I would be here for him. I never changed my eating habits. I'm changing my eating habits so that I can be here for Star Wars. Like it means that much to me. Like I just, oh God. Miguel says, and yet his episodes from season 3 didn't have much fan service. We were hearing Sabine, Thrawn, Ahsoka, Fenro, and so on, and none of that.
Well, Thrawn was mentioned in, because I believe his only episode in season 3 was episode 7, correct?
He co-wrote.
That was a written one by him. I can't remember if he directed any. I don't think he did.
I don't remember if he did or not. Yeah, I was really expecting Sabine to pop up in this.
I was too, but I was convinced, and I remember being on the show last time and saying, bet your house on Sabine showing up. So if anyone did bet their house on Sabine showing up, I'm sorry for I'm sorry for leading you astray.
You know, there's something else too that kind of irks me. I remember who it was. They said that these last 2 episodes were going to tie together everything in Mandalorian so far and Book of Boba Fett. What in these last 2 episodes had anything to do with Book of Boba Fett? Did I miss something somewhere?
I don't think so.
They said they were supposed to tie everything together, and there was I don't remember. That's why I was so sure Boba Fett was going to pop up. And I
can't remember who said that, but with so many of these quotes, you gotta just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't expect it all to, because they, not that they talk out of their ass, but so many of these creators and executives just talk out of their ass. So
Miguel says it was the director.
Rick Famuyiwa. That's right. That's
his last name. I have no idea how to say
Famuyiwa, I believe is how. Rick Famuyiwa.
I still have a hard time saying Mitharon or Duru. Like I actually have a hard time saying. Yeah, and so
that's why his name is Thrawn. So
right, he thinks it was Grogu's training that was brought up in Book of Boba Fett, which I guess would kind of make. The creature thing. We were just talking about the creature thing a little bit ago with the Mythosaur and the Rancor between Book of Boba Fett. So maybe that had something to do with it. Let's see here. Johnny G says, yep, I've been just don't die. I think I skipped a comment here. Sorry. MB Wilson says, great point, Miguel, but he doesn't overdo the fan service.
That's the thing is like,
you can overdo it.
That's the thing. You can't overdo it. And that's the problem with a lot of cameos like Ahmed Best and the Praetorian Guards and all these things. You can't just bring these things in and not have them mean something. And in both of his episodes this season, they both meant something very vital to a lot of sections of Star Wars fandom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, bringing Ahmed Best back in as a Jedi blew up the internet for a reason, and it was done very well. And then bringing in the Praetorian Guards and the Shadow Council scene with Thrawn, all that stuff was done very well, and it pleased a lot of people, and that is good fan service.
Yeah.
So not including characters like Sabine, Fen Rao, all these guys, to me, that's fine as long as what we do get is good and what we got was good from them. So I'm fine not having those characters. So,
and one of the other things that we've been talking about too is how when the prequels came out, they weren't very well received, obviously, and so now people have kind of grown up with them, and now they've grown on a lot of people. They're accepted as Star Wars at this point. When Dave Filoni did Clone Wars, he really supplemented the prequels with Clone Wars and really built onto it and made the prequels a lot more acceptable for a lot of people because of that story that took place in between them. And a lot of people have been saying he's been doing the same thing with the sequel films with what they're calling the Mandoverse, right? And one of the things that I thought was interesting was I remember when Last Jedi came out, everybody was pissed off because the Praetorian Guards, like, their weapons can stop lightsabers. Are you serious? That doesn't make any sense. How is that even possible? They're made of Beskar, and now we know that. Like, the Praetorian Guard stuff's made of Beskar, or at least was, you know what I mean? And so he's supplementing the sequels, and there's these little things that are making them better as we go. You know what I'm saying? So
and again, it's bringing these elements in to please other fans, to please various sects of fandom, and doing them justice in a way that doesn't insult people. Like, I don't know, what's a horrible cameo? I don't know, Jack Black and Lizzo. I mean, that was fan service to those people, and if you're a fan of those people, but it's like those were useless.
Thank you.
There was no point in having them in there. So it's like, yeah, it's like, so if you bring something in that someone is going to recognize, you have to do it justice. And there's no one better than Dave Filoni. And then MB Wilson again later on in the chat here says, Zeb, another great example of great fan service. So it's like, if you want to bring someone in that someone is going to talk about, because every cameo, every reference, it's going to be people talking about, and you want people to talk about it in a positive way.
Right. So
you don't just want, you want people to talk about it in a positive way and also talk about how I don't know how I want to say it, but it's like, it's just, you want to do them right.
Yeah. Oh, Johnny G says Jack Black is Star Wars. Boy, you're kicking the hornet's nest here, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, boy. Well, we've been going for an hour and 6 minutes.
You
want to add before we?
No, I want to go back. Andrew, if you're still here, we completely missed your question earlier.
Oh, did I miss something?
Yeah. He asked if Gideon was a clone and is still out there.
Oh, here we go.
And it's still possibly is the armor a spy, or do you think that won't be the case? We totally missed this question.
I did. I'm so sorry, Andrew. I did there was a lot of them coming in. I didn't mean to skip over it. Is the armor still a spy? Possibly. I don't think so at this point.
I don't think so. I mean,
I think we owe her an apology.
I went into this season convinced she would be the baddie. Just because I mean, we all just kind of were like, oh, Mando's still a part of this cult. I think we can put the cult talk to rest at this point.
Yeah.
That's just the Mandalorian way at this point, man.
It is. Yeah. You follow a creed. Yeah. It's when she started beating, what are these things? What are we going to call them? The stormtrooper, the storm mandos. That's what I'm going to call them. The storm mandos. When she started blasting storm mandos out of the air with a Beskar hammer on a jetpack, and she just started going Betty BA on these things, I looked at my wife and I'm like, we owe her an apology.
Yeah.
She's going to town on these guys. And
so I think she's totally on the side of good. She's for Mandalore. She goes about it in ways that aren't ideal at times, to say the least. But it's like, but I think she's on the side of good at the end of the day. But yeah, if Gideon was a clone and still out there, I'm very curious if Gideon is still out there. I'm very curious. Or if they just shut the door on that and say he's dead and go straight, Thrawn is the baddie now.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious as to what they do with that.
Because if they bring him back, they're doing something that to me is a huge sin in a movie or in a series. I hate it when they kill somebody off like that just to bring them back later. I can't stand that. Like Rise of Skywalker did it like 8 times. In that entire movie, it was like 8 times, right? Like, Chewie died. Just kidding. He was on another ship. Like I say it every week. I know I do. 3PO got his memory erased. Just kidding. R2 backed him up. Ben got thrown down a hole. Just kidding. He's back. Rey died. Just kidding. She's back. Like Zori and Babu Frick were on Kijimi. Just kidding. They're at the final battle. Like it just happens so many times, and so I can't I can't do it anymore. Like when they kill, if you're going to kill somebody off, kill them. That's why I said, I hope to God Tech is actually dead. I hope he's rotting at the bottom of that chasm. and it's not because I hate Tech as a character. It's because I don't want them to bring him back and just cheapen the stakes, So I hope he's dead. The clone thing makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I'm going to buy into it all the way.
It's going to be a tough sell. It's going to be a tough sell because if he comes back and it's a clone, it's like, for what purpose?
Yeah.
Because that's always the thing you got to ask yourself with these things. It's like, all right, so you want them to come back in some form, but for what? and getting coming back as a clone, it's like, why?
Storm Giddies. I like it. That's where we're going. That's what I'm calling them from now on, right? Storm Giddies.
All right.
Yes, I like it. So, all right. Anything else you want to add about the finale? What you think maybe we're going to get for anything like that before we
Oh, I think we pretty much covered it all. It's just, yeah, I think overall as a season, it had some very high highs. It also had probably the series' lowest lows. But at the end of the day, for me, I had a good time, and the highs are enough for me to be happy with what we got. I'm excited for Ahsoka. I'm excited for Skeleton Crew. I'm excited for all the Mando movies, or all the movies that are announced. Everything at Star Wars Celebration that we've been talking about excited me to no end. Yeah, I mean, all the Acolyte stuff we got as well. It's like, yeah, I'm just, no matter what you say, or no matter how you feel about Star Wars right now, there's something for everybody, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool. If you're tired of the Skywalker saga, if you're tired of the Mandalorian, well, you got so much else out there for you. And whether it's the High Republic or books, comics, or you just want to wait for the Raid sequel movie, or if you don't like any of that stuff, well, guess what? James Mangold is here to save your day. And if you don't like that, heck, go back to Legends and play the Old Republic video game, because they're probably going to make books and shows out of that fairly soon too.
I'm shocked they haven't made Knights of the Old Republic canon yet. I am shocked that they haven't.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see about that. Yeah. But yeah, there's so much to be excited about as a Star Wars fan right now. And I think that's really cool. It's just the stuff they put out's got to be good. And if it can, and if it keeps being good, people will at some point be quiet. I mean, there's always going to be naysayers.
Yeah.
There's always going to be people that poo-poo on things you love, and you just got to find a way to tune them out and enjoy what you enjoy.
Yep.
And that's just that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I'm excited too, man. It's like you said, it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan, and the movies for me are a great example. I'm not that thrilled with the Rey announcement. Hopefully, it's a great movie. I'm going to be a big cheerleader for it.
Well, I'm ecstatic about it.
But because I've got 2 more coming that I am ecstatic for, I'm cool with it. You know, that's fine. There's something for everybody, right? That's what I'm looking forward to, is the stuff I'm looking forward to.
Right. If Mando wasn't your thing, guess what? Andor season 2 is coming out next year. Like there's an Acolyte and Ahsoka, and Ahsoka's going to give everyone their lightsaber action. I mean, if you've been missing your lightsabers, guess what? Ahsoka's going to give you all that more.
You're getting 2 orange lightsabers. You're getting Ahsoka. Apparently an Inquisitor in there somewhere. I mean, there's going to be plenty of lightsaber. Ezra's lightsaber. Ezra fight. Yeah. I need to shut up because some of that is celebration stuff that wasn't shown publicly. So anyway, all right. So before we sign off, where can the good people find you, Mr. Nate?
Oh, I'm most active on Twitter, Nate_Manningham. I don't know. I can't remember how Manningham became a thing, but it's been a thing. It'll stay a thing. So follow me on Twitter for all of my poor Star Wars takes and movie takes, and my poor life as a Minnesota sports fan right now, following Timberwolves and Wild in the NBA, NHL playoffs. Terrible times in both of those. So follow me over there. Yeah.
That's it.
That's all I got.
Fair enough. Well, before I tell you guys where you can find me, again, rest in peace, Darksaber. I will forever love you, and I will get you one of these days. You guys can find me on my podcast, the Star Wars Canon Podcast. We've been doing live shows on Thursday nights. We didn't do one tonight because I was at a work function. Wasn't able to go live tonight, but we do go live on Thursday nights. Last week, we had a full panel. We were talking about what happened at Celebration and kind of our take on everything. It was like a 2.5 hour long episode. Go check it out. It was a lot of fun. I had the guys from the Marvel cast with me, Stephen Hall and JG Kars. They joined me and my co-host Yusuf Wally, and we just talked everything Celebration, and we had a blast with it. A lot of debates in there too, because JG and I do not see eye to eye with the Rey Skywalker thing. So definitely head over there and check that out. It was a lot of fun. And like I said, you guys can catch that every Thursday night. So if that's everything, man, let's call it a night and sign off, and let everybody go to bed.
Yep. Be sure to keep following Star Wars Newsnet for all your latest news and all that good stuff. And we'll try to be here live every Thursday and talk about it, and get ready for Ahsoka.
Fair enough. All right. Well, until next week, guys, may the Force be with you.